Let's react to top most underrated WWE rivalries ever. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell, picture in the description. Let's get right into it. The one I think of that was slept on is CM Punk and Jeff Hardy. Hey, Jeff Hardy, I can't say that a person is my favorite wrestler because they don't consider them in the WWE, but Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler currently. Of all time. No, you talking about wrestlers right now in the WWE, it's Carmelo Hayes. But let's do this. I'm gonna see if they got some females on here. Let's see.
What would wrestling be without rivalries? A waste of effing time, that's what. Because while watching random wrestling matches is good for a bit, it's the compelling storytelling brought about as a result of some proper antagonism that really gets us fans going. And it's the same for the superstars themselves, of course. Yes, a choreographed athletic exhibition is fine, but any wrestler worth their salt is going to derive true satisfaction from a long-term program with a suitable dance partner that, in the end, is going to lead to a bigger, more important match with, it's hoped, a far more
The Rock and Stone Cold not gonna be in here. Is that underrated? Maybe someone I don't even know. On me.
Crowd response. We've had some classic WWE rivalries worthy of Shakespeare over the decades, but with so many feuds to get invested in, some invariably don't get the love that they really ought to. Sometimes that's because the performers involved are better remembered for other rivals.
I was like, but that already got a chain on, but he got the key when he was locked up. Forgot about that.
With different opponents, and sometimes it's because wrestling fans are godforsaken ingrates who wouldn't know a great story if it was read to them just before bedtime. Whatever the reason, the following 10 tales remain overlooked and in need of revisiting. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and these are the 10 most underrated WWE rivalries ever. Join us. Number 10, MVP versus Matt Hardy. A depleted SmackDown roster in the summer of
when the minute back at WrestleMania, then he came out and did his finisher up to the top of the ladder and ended his whole match.
2007 led to an excellent long-term feud between two of the Blue brand's hardest working performers. MVP, who at the time had been on WWE television for under a year but was the reigning United States champion, began a dispute with Matt Hardy, which all started when he lost a non-title match to the Broken One, prompting him to claim that he was better than Hardy at, well, everything. So whether it was pizza eating, basketball dunking, boxing, arm wrestling, or beer drinking, Matt and Montel engaged in all manner of contests, building anticipation for their eventual title match. They then became bickering tag team champion partners and looked like they were on their way to becoming genuine pals when MVP attacked Matt, writing him out of the storyline while he recovered from injury. The Sensei of Mattitude made a shocking return at WrestleMania 24, costing MVP the Money in the Bank ladder match and reigniting their conflict. At Backlash 2008, Hardy finally got his big win, beating MVP and ending the franchise player's record-setting US title run. Whether doing skits, delivering promos, teaming, or wrestling one another, MVP and Matt Hardy displayed a ton of chemistry in their lengthy rivalry, and both men came out of it better than they were when they went in.
I really didn't know this rivalry, but I just knew they had something because of the WrestleMania thing.
Number 9, Mr.
Really, Ad? Come on, cool.
Mr. Kennedy versus The Undertaker. The feud between
I don't know this one.
Matt and MVP had originally been discussed for Hardy and Ken Kennedy before the microphone master went down with an injury. Before he went off to start rehabbing, however, Kennedy had been on a roll thanks in large part to a major feud with The Undertaker. It all came about.
Oh, this one I don't know about. I just when I really didn't watch wrestling there.
The braggart, claiming to have beaten everyone on the SmackDown roster over the course of the previous year, demanded a move to Raw. But hold on a minute, player. Teddy Long was the general manager,
and that The Undertaker.
enter one-on-one match with the Dead Man.
One-on-one match with the Undertaker. Buckle up, Teddy.
Had not yet vanquished. Their first meeting, a solid scrap at No Mercy 2006, ended in a disqualification win for Ken, which only sought to anger the Phenom, who then helped cost Kennedy the US title. Kennedy then won a First Blood match at Survivor Series thanks to an errant chair swing by MVP, but he ultimately lost the blow-off match, a bruising last ride affair at Armageddon. Kennedy was typically golden on the stick during this feud and really stepped up his game against the locker room leader. Taker, to his credit, did everything he could to help put over a man that many at the time felt was a future main eventer, and the result was a cracking rivalry that should be talked about more. Number 8, Edge versus Kurt Angle.
I don't know, but this one neither. Yeah, you give me some I don't know. Mostly all of these.
One of the ideas behind the initial WWE draft split in the spring of 2002 was that it would give some members of a stacked roster a chance to break out of the pack and become genuine stars. While some found it harder than others, one of the early success stories was the ascendancy of Edge, who had been somewhat struggling to establish himself after breaking up with Christian the previous summer. A feud with the red-hot wrestling machine Kurt Angle, however, enabled the rated R superstar to demonstrate the full scope of his abilities, whether it was his comedic timing in backstage segments or his in-ring ability as a singles competitor. Their first match at Backlash was something of a breakout performance from Edge, who began to be taken a lot more seriously as a potential headliner, despite coming out of the bout on the losing end. The Canadian and the Olympian upped their stakes for the rematch at Judgment Day by putting their hair on the line. Edge came out of that one victorious and with his locks intact, while Angle received a very short back and sides with everything off the top in a memorable moment.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Actually, I did watch some of this on YouTube. Yeah, I remember this.
Big match together inside a cage on a subsequent episode of SmackDown was another exemplary effort, also won by the Ultimate Opportunist. Number 7,
oh yeah, I told you it
CM
was
Punk
gonna be on
versus
here.
Jeff Hardy.
Told you.
Pitting a
Jeff Hardy left WWE to go to TNA.
Self-professed and self-righteous straight-edge
Everybody
savior
hated
against
CM Punk. That's so stupid. Cause why would you do that, Jeff Hardy?
the devil-may-care candle burner was a stroke of genius, as the two opposites had a natural grudge that could be exploited as Punk slowly turned towards the dark side. The best in the world began to show signs of what was to come when he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase and pinned Hardy to become World Heavyweight Champion immediately following the charismatic Enigma's grueling ladder match with Edge at Extreme Rules 2009. Punk walked the line beautifully between face and heel in the weeks that followed, and added fuel to the fire when he was disqualified after accidentally kicking the referee in the back after his eye was apparently injured in their match at the Bash. After that match, a bit more reality began to creep into their exchanges as Punk berated Hardy for his real-life past drug use and wellness policy violations. Jeff got his revenge and became champ once again at Night of Champions, before more twists and turns led to SummerSlam and a TLC match that saw the title once again around the waist of the straight-edge superstar. Punk would then begin a feud with a returning Undertaker, but not before closing the book on his cracking feud with the rainbow-haired Warrior, beating him in a loser leaves WWE cage match on SmackDown. Number 6, Trish Stratus versus Stephanie McMahon. Nowadays, Trish Stratus is a
women stuff in here now. Stephanie McMahon, I think it's the last one I look at. Stephanie McMahon though, I'm gonna try to rivalry one in the Bellas.
WWE Hall of Famer, celebrated for her multiple women's title reigns and barrier-breaking in-ring exploits in feuds with the likes of Lita, Mickie James, Victoria, and Molly Holly. Stephanie McMahon may not be quite as celebrated, but has done untold good work in WWE, whether behind the scenes or in the squared circle, and has been one of the best heels of the past 20 years. Fight me. Back in 2001, though, Trish was primarily a manager and used as eye candy, while the billion-dollar princess was in the process of finding her way as a character. When the two were paired together in a feud, expectations weren't exactly high. Fighting over Trish's affair with Steph's genetic jackhammer.
See? And that's why Vince McMahon in trouble now. This bull cut right here. Come on.
of a father, the two brought great energy to proceedings whenever they were involved physically, and a match was booked for the No Way Out pay-per-view. Amazingly, the pair had one hell of a bout filled with drama, a lot of crowd heat, and feisty brawling. Steph won the match thanks to some help from a conflicted William Regal, but that wasn't the end of the story. Trish getting covered in swill and barking like a dog may have been regrettable, but Canada's
that's a man doing right there. Barking like a dog is crazy.
Got her revenge at WrestleMania X7 when she slapped Vince in the face before running his daughter right out of the Houston Astrodome. Number 5.
I thought I said something else. I would have been like, oh, you can't say that. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Like, subscribe, comment, road to 200. Go through that Patreon and see some anime. I got a lot of that in the show. Let's get it. Doses.